think we're all set.
Very good. Call to order now the meeting of the LDC, Local Development Court. Maria, do the roll call, please.
Sherry Boye,
Yes.
James Ellis,
Present.
Stephen Ehrman,
Here.
Madeline Fleury,
Here.
Justice Martin,
Present.
Archie McKee,
Here.
one vacant seat noted, and also present Jeremy Evans, Maria Bourgeois, Russ Kinnon, and Rachel Child.
Very good. Motion to accept the agenda or to add to it?
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda.
By Sherry, like the agenda second.
I second.
Archie seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aren't there changes to the agenda, Jeremy?
Oh, we are in need of an executive session. Towards the end.
I'll move to, that we go into executive session
We just need to
at the end of,
add it to the agenda. Yeah,
okay.
Don't you also have an additional resolution?
no. We have our CARES Act and our Main Street.
And the purpose of the.
So Russ
executive-
didn't have one to present then for a loan?
Oh, yes, right. Yeah,
I
you're
thought
right.
so.
Loan approval of loan.
So the motion to go to executive session, do we work on that? Is that,
The executive session, I forget the language for what the purpose is.
okay.
We have therefore some changes to the agenda, which were not reflected in the previous resolution. We are adding under new business, resolution number 2022-20 to approve loan applications. And the date of the next, the executive session, which will follow the regular portion of this meeting. And then the date of the next meeting, I will announce at that time. Let's now go back to bills and communications from the LDC. Any here? No. There are no bills and communications. Committee
Sorry,
reports.
Jim, but we need a motion to approve the minutes from May, please.
Well, I'm just about ready to do that, but I wanted to point out quickly that we have, I'd like to think that maybe we can speed committee reports up as part of this agenda by just indicating if any of the committees have a report to make, they can just go ahead and say, Chairman so-and-so, Finance Committee report to the board for this month. That will probably speed on it a little bit. So let's go back to now the approval of the previous minutes of May 18, 2022 for the LDC. Motion.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes.
I'll
Motion by
second it.
and seconded by Sherry to approve the minutes of May 18, 2022. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
You say by. Okay. Committee reports. If you have anything to report, please make your report now by indicating which committee you're reporting for. Hearing no committee reports, we will then move on to the treasurer's report. Jeremy?
Okay, for the EDC, our total assets and liabilities add to $2.8 million. And as far as, let's say, that's a change of $400,000 since last year. Much of that can be attributed to returning unused occupancy tax revenues to Franklin County. We've not had any unusually large expenditures or income, but we did receive one of our some revenue from outstanding grant revenue that we've been waiting for. And so I think I mentioned this last month, but we're going to start seeing where revenue and expenses related to our grant work. And so we will be paying grant awards to qualified property owners, and then you will also see income coming from the state or private, like in last month's case, private foundations that once we submit all the paperwork, then comes back to us. And we're going to start seeing a lot more of that due to the work that Rachel and our consultants are engaged in. And then as far as the profit and loss budget versus actual, I don't have anything unusual to report. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them.
Very good, very good. Any questions? There are no questions from the board. We have to adopt the approval of the treasurer's report. We have a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Archie to approve. Second,
I'll second. Steve,
is there any discussion on the treasurer's report? If not, we will assume the question's been placed, and all those in favor of adopting, approving the treasurer's report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? The ayes have it.
Jim, just hold on just 1 second. Can you hear us still?
Yes,
Okay. Go ahead.
Continuing the agenda for the LPC, is there any old finished business at this point?
No.
If not, we'll move on to new business. What is the brand usage agreement?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
That's right.
Yes. So I wanted to just give a quick update to the board. We're not asking for any action right now. It's simply an update, and we're gonna be continuing to refine this. But we have a draft agreement written by Matt McCardle for how we would allow different organizations to use our Adirondack Frontier brand and logo. If you recall, we had it trademarked last year,
Right.
and we also started using a version of it for tourism promotion, and so we have the fundamental, the baseline Adirondack Frontier logo and brand, and then for tourism purposes, we added the Explore moniker to it, so the Explore Adirondack Frontier moniker. So what we've discussed with the county is to have an agreement allowing, now that the county is doing the tourism promotion in-house, to allow them to use our brand for tourism promotion purposes and have an agreement in place to make that official. What I wanted to share really quickly on the screen is something Kelly's working on. Kelly's working on helping us get ready that would accompany this agreement. And I just wanted to go through it really quick. And so you can see the different components of how this can all come together once we get it finalized. And so hopefully you can see, I don't know why it's so small, but let me make it bigger. What we're working on is just a collection of graphics and guidelines that help anyone who's using our logo understand how to use it or not use it. And this is not complete, but I wanted to just take 2 minutes to share it with you so you can see some of the aspects to it. And we still need to add the Explore Adirondack Frontier version. But the first part of it is just showing different ways that it's acceptable to use our brand. And sometimes it seems like common sense, but too many times what you think is common sense ends up not being that common. And so it's important for us to share that the logo should be of a certain width and height proportionally, that we use certain colors. We have our brand colors. This is just showing how to use our badge with a white background or a colored background. I'll skip through a few of these. This is just showing baseline dimensions for some of our badges and logos. And then we get into some of these details, such as the actual color, so that anyone who's using it makes sure they print it right, where it shows up correctly on a computer screen, shows our the fonts that are used in our logo, and a couple other things like that. And then what we're going to finally do is have some don'ts. So for example, we would never accept anyone using our logo and using it or changing the words or the letters to red. Or we want to make sure that when someone uses the logo, they on a big printed banner or something, that it prints in high quality, that it's not pixelated. And there's just none of it's really hard, but we just want to make sure that anyone who's using our brand uses it properly so that it represents us and Franklin County well. And so what we're working on is making sure we've got a good agreement, and then we'll have these guidelines as kind of a companion document so that anyone we might have an agreement with understands the best ways to use our logo and also not use it. And so I just wanted to just give that quick update and let you know that Kelly's working on the guidelines. Matt and I have a few items to polish in the agreement, and I'm hoping we get it back to the board for approval in July.
Very good. Thank you. Now the county board itself is going to have to agree to this.
Right, yeah, so yeah, that would be the other party to it, yeah, correct.
Very good. Any questions on the brand usage agreement? All right, our next item is resolution number 2022-18 to approve the Main Street Grant Awards. And I think this is Russ.
Rachel.
Rachel, I'm
Rachel's
sorry.
gonna give
Sorry,
us a
Rachel.
quick description of this.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'll just provide some brief context on these awards. So as you'll recall, in 2021, we were awarded $400,000 in New York Main Street funds through New York State Homes and Community Renewal. Some of those funds are set aside for admin, soft costs, and also streetscape improvements for the Village of Malone. So that leaves us with approximately $300,000 in funds to award local businesses for renovations. We had a first round of applications last year in June, and then I did a lot of outreach this spring and was able to expand the target area boundary. And then we received another 5 applications in May. Of all those applications, we currently have three viable projects that the project review committee is recommending that we fund. And that will leave, if those are approved, that will leave us with about $100,000 in funds toward other projects. And I have some applicants lined up, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to come back to you in a few months to award those remaining funds as well. So the first award is for Juan Rivera. That's for facade renovations at 470 East Main Street, which is the old Adirondack Hardware building. He's also doing renovations to the entire interior of the building, but we are not directly funding that. The second project is for Kratos Development. That I'm realizing now it should say 367 West Main Street, not 467. And that's for $100,000 for full building renovations. He's doing facade renovations and interior residential and commercial renovations.
And Rachel, that location is where?
That's 367 West Main Street. So that's the old St. Lucia's building.
Okay,
Mhm. And that's for 100,000, not 150,000. And then the last award is for 461 East Main Street. So that's the Richardson apartment building. That is for facade improvements and for first floor interior commercial renovations. Are there any questions about these projects?
Are there any questions?
The Kratos development again on 467 Main Street. What's in that building at this point, Rachel?
So I believe the law office is possibly still there at this time. I'm not sure on that, but there's lots of vacant spaces in that building that they would like to renovate, and it's a mix of residential and commercial spaces. So they want to, go ahead, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
They want to renovate at least 2 residential units and 2 commercial units, and budget permitting, they may do up to 3 residential and 3 commercial units.
So improving the housing stock downtown and coming up with more desirable retail space in the building.
Exactly, and they are going to do facade improvements as well, which is mainly paint, potentially replacing windows, that kind of thing. Nothing too major. It's already one of the nicer facades in downtown Malone, but they will be doing some minor improvements to the facade.
And the second question I have is the committee that did the selection, the review committee, was obviously very heavily Village of Malone people. Sarah Turf, right? So it's
Yes, I think they're all from Malone.
good.
Yes, they are. It's a mix. So there's one person on the committee that works with the school district. There's a business owner and also someone who runs a nonprofit. So it's really a diverse group of Malonians.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Any further questions for Rachel?
Yes, I have a question. Well, one on the resolution, it says up to 150,000. Is it 150 or 100?
Yeah, that's an error. It's supposed to say 100 and the address is 367 West Main Street.
Okay. And my next question is on the other one, the Richardson building. Now, I mean, I understand that the ownership of that is related to the MCM. Is that correct? And I would have a problem with knowing that there are loans outstanding, I guess I will say, that
So
maybe that's not the best choice for a grant. That's my opinion.
So it actually is a different LLC. It's not owned by MCM Development. One of the people involved with MCM Development is involved with the Mason Richardson LLC, but it is a different business and a different LLC. So,
But don't we, don't we still, I think, still have something outstanding with them on that one? Or no?
That's the way to-
With Mason Richardson, as
Right.
far as a grant or something?
No, I guess part of our lending, it's only on the other property.
Correct. And that's how we ended up looking at this, was that these are separate projects, they're separate entities, and we needed to, the committee and us needed to weigh them on separate merits.
Just
So that's how we approached it.
There is an outstanding loan on the Richardson property with Medco. That remains unpaid and Medco remains undissolved. So, but that is the situation.
Do you know when Medco is gonna get sorted out so that all of that can be taken care of, Archie?
No, I don't. I wish I did. It's one of my biggest wants, and it's just it's taking a lot of time. And I was
Okay.
told that when I first got involved with it at the village level, but I'm gonna remain pursuant to that because there is just about $1 million that could be loaned out and put to good use in this community.
Right.
So
Yeah.
anyway, that's the situation.
but I will say that the funds are going to be used to ensure structural integrity of the building. The building is in dire need of a new roof, which the grant funds will partially fund. And there's currently vacant commercial space on the first floor. So they're hoping that by making both visual improvements and also improvements to the heating system, that they can secure commercial tenants. And, with that income that can help pay back any outstanding loans.
Good. Any other questions? Any other questions relating to 2022-18 Main Street Grant Awards?
It will be amended before I have to sign it, correct?
Right, it needs to be a resolution with $100,000 for Kratos and 367 West Main Street. Those are the two
Correct.
corrections. Yeah.
Yep.
Can we correct them here within the meeting, or do we have to wait till next month?
No, we just did. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure is just making sure we know that that's actually what's being passed.
Does that have to be a resolution to the amendments?
Did we make a motion yet?
No, that's what I'm waiting for. If there is nothing else that anybody wants to speak about with resolution 2022-18, to include the amendments that Sherry just indicated, and Jeremy also, we can, I think the first thing we do is to approve the Main Street Grant Awards, if that's what you wish to do, and offer an amendment when we get into discussion.
I do have a question. What if you don't agree with one of them but they're all lumped together?
Well, then we could probably, by resolution too, Madeline, do them separately, if that's what you wish to do.
Absolutely. You can make that an amendment.
Which that can be an amendment also.
Yep.
So I think probably the very first thing to do would be to put a resolution or put a motion on the floor to adopt resolution 2022-18. And then we'll open it up for discussion. I'll go to you, Madeline, first, and then I'll go to Sherry, and we can add whatever amendments you wish. And then finally, at the end, we will vote on amended resolution 2022-18. I hate to sound so difficult about this, but I want to make sure that everything that's going into the minutes and everything that we're doing on the video here is correct. So, very first item, I, as chair, call for a motion to adopt resolution 2022-18, the approval of the Main Street grant awards. We have a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Sherry, second.
Steve will second.
Second by Steve Erman. Discussion.
Madeline?
Yes, I would like to have the resolution split for each grant that's being awarded. So have an
And I think that's
individual resolution for
total how
each.
many? Yeah, how many was that? I don't. Three, that's what I thought. Okay, that's three. So your resolution or your amendment is to take 2022-18 and to divide it into three separate motions.
Correct.
Support that.
Very good. Archie, you said something. I'm sorry.
He said he supports that.
Oh, okay.
I would support that.
Okay, so the second to do that, Madeline, I'm assuming you made the motion
That was the motion.
and Archie is seconding your amendment suggestion.
Yep.
Okay. Any further discussion on amendments? Sherry?
No? Oh, yes, the amendment, I'm sorry, to change the up to 150 to Kratos Development to up to 100,000 to Kratos Development LLC with a corrected address of 367 West Main Street.
Very good. Is there a second to Sherry's motion to amend the item for the limit and also the address correction?
I will second
Is there a
that.
second by Archie? Any other suggestions or any other amendments? If not, we can vote, I believe, if I'm correct on procedure, we can vote on resolution 2022-18, the approval of the Main Street grant awards as amended. As amended. Can you repeat that for us?
So I think what we would do is that if we vote on the amendment and it passes, 2022-18 would become a resolution to approve $50,000 for Don Rivera and 470 East Main Street. And then 2022-19 would become $100,000 for Kratos Development at 367 West Main Street. And then 2022-20 would be $50,000 for Mason Richardson at 461 East Main.
Yes,
So
that's correct.
does that sound right? If when we vote on the motion, on the amendment, does that sound like the right outcome?
Yes,
And
I
then-
think so.
Then you'll do resolutions or motions for each of those. So this is, when you vote right now, you're simply voting to separate each of them into separate resolutions.
As amended.
Yep.
Okay, you got that?
You're not approving a project, you're just approving the separation into three different resolutions.
As amended.
Yes.
Okay. That being the case, let me take a swipe at it. Don't laugh, Sherry. You make me feel bad.
Just ask for, you get everyone's vote.
Better you than me.
Well, we still have to divide them.
Now, that's what we're doing. If you,
Oh, that's included.
then yes.
Got
Yes. So
Okay,
you just
very good.
Ask for,
So I guess what we need to do is we need to have any further discussion. That's the question.
Yep.
Being no further discussion, the chair will assume that the question has been moved to adopt resolution number 22-2022-18. And 19? No, can't be. 2022-18 in its component parts as amended. Is everybody clear on that?
Yes.
Okay. That next item would be to have Sherry do, excuse me, Maria do a roll call vote on 2022-18 as amended, to break it into 3 pieces, and also as amended, as indicated earlier.
Right.
Okay, so if everybody's got that, Sherry Boye,
Yes.
Jim
Hold on.
Ellis?
Question, hold,
I just want to make sure everyone, at least from, so we get this right. I think if you're voting right now, it's for the amendment.
right,
But we're voting on resolution 2018, which is going to be an amended motion. So are we voting on Juan Rivera?
I'm assuming that we
He's the only-
by our actions,
Separated the other two.
that's right. We already did that by the discussion.
So I want to make sure everyone understands. You're voting on the new 2218, which is for Juan Rivera, $50,000, 470 East Main Street.
Right. On that particular part of 22-18, Maria, go ahead and call the roll.
Sherry Boye,
Yes.
James Ellis,
Yes.
Stephen Erman,
Yes.
Madeline Fleury,
Yes.
Justice Martin is absent, Archie McKee.
Yes.
So that part is adopted.
Now we'll go to the next part of resolution 2022-18,
19 now.
19, no, I'm
Yep.
sorry.
2019 -22-19 is approval of $100,000 for Kratos development at 367 West Main Street. So we need a first and a second.
We need a motion and a second.
Key me in on the property location.
That's the
367
St. Lucia's building.
It's the what?
St. Lucia's building
Okay,
next to the courthouse.
okay.
Everybody clear?
Mhm.
Then Maria, you can go ahead and,
We don't have a motion yet, Jim.
We need a first and a second.
oh yeah, well, let's do the motion and a second.
I'll do the
Motion.
motion.
I'll
Motion by
second it.
Archie, second by, I'm sorry. I messed up.
Jerry.
Jerry,
Sherry.
Me.
Okay. And you
Okay.
want to go right to roll call?
Yep.
Okay, Sherry Boye,
Yes.
James Ellis.
Yeah.
Stephen Erman,
Yes.
Madeline Fleury,
Yes.
Justice Martin is absent, Archie McKee.
Yes.
It's adopted.
Okay, is that the end of breaking that or?
no, we need one more. 22-20, award $50,000 Mason Richardson LLC, 461 East Main Street.
The reason I'm asking Jeremy all these things is because he's keeping the minutes for this part of it as well as Maria. So if there's any question, we're gonna have to go back. So we'll entertain a motion for resolution 2022
22-20,
for
Mason Richardson.
Mason Richardson. Any questions as to what we'll be voting on? If not, then we will go ahead and assume that we can call the roll call, Maria.
We need a
Don't
first
have a
and a second.
motion yet.
Okay, motion. Who will make the motion?
I'll make the motion to vote
Motion
on
by
the
Madeline,
Mason Richardson.
Second.
Steve seconds.
Discussion.
Anybody have any questions or any further discussion? Okay, Maria, I guess we're at the position now where we can go ahead and call the roll.
Okay, so this is for 2022-20 for the Mason Richardson. Sherry Boye,
Yes.
James Ellis,
Yes,
Stephen Erman,
Yes.
Madeline Fleury,
No.
Justice Martin is absent. Archie McKee.
Abstain.
Okay. So the motion is passed.
Just for the record, Maria, what's our attendance and I'll have to make a point of the quorum.
Justice absent. What do you mean, what's our attendance? We have 5 out of 6 members present currently.
Okay, 5 or 6 members. So that would mean that we have to have at least 3 votes in favor. Correct?
We still, I don't know, a quorum is 4?
That's if you have 7.
I don't know. You guys.
I'm
figure it out, I guess.
assuming this is, I'm assuming this is okay. Because the quorum will depend on number of people here and the total membership, which would be 7 if it was full. So being only 6, the quorum still has to be at least 4. Correct?
Okay.
Still has to be at least 4.
So that
That's what I
doesn't-
think, because the board numbers don't change. We still have the
That's right.
same quorum of
So that-
4.
So that last vote, that last one did not pass.
So that's my point. That with only 3 votes, with Justice stepping aside,
Right.
unless Archie wishes not to abstain, that'll be,
Okay, well.
that's what I caught. I'm sorry, I caught it, but that's really what I wanted
No,
to
I
make
think
sure.
that's right.
Shall we discuss this?
Well, we've actually voted, unless we vote to reopen.
I'd move to reopen. I'd like to actually discuss the implications of turning this down with an active committee in Malone that made this recommendation. So I don't know if.
I think that's appropriate. Who made the motion on adopting 2022 as amended?
I believe.
Who
I
made the
did.
motion?
Madeline, yes.
Okay,
And Steve
Madeline and Steve seconded.
Mhm.
My question to you, because of the procedure again, is as the person making the motion and the person seconding, which you both have to agree on, do you agree to reopen discussion? It's up to you.
So I think what I would be curious to hear from the board is any information that caused concern or that was not provided, either from staff or from the committee, or anything you'd like to see that we could go get if we want to revisit this in the future,
And
because
Justice
everybody
is
had
here
their
now,
reasons.
so he could also vote if whatever.
I,
My question,
Steve has a question. Go ahead, Steve.
my question on
There's
this
Justice.
has to do with, we've had a committee that worked hard. It was a select committee of people mainly from Malone, who thought this was the right thing to do. And I'd like to know that we had some logical reason to turn it down, and I'm not questioning anybody's individual vote. However, I think the overall action of the LDC is going to have the appearance of we saw something wrong with this project that had been carefully scrutinized and reviewed by a local committee. And I think that's a bad message to send. I look at our role in this somewhat as ministerial. We're not dealing with our funds. We're doing this on the basis of our being entrusted to administer these funds, and we're taking guidance from the review committee, and we're not taking that. And we're obviously on this one, we did not agree with their guidance.
Again, from a ministerial point of view, as chairman of the board, I'd like to indicate to you the fact that as I saw it, It was merely a question of the numbers. And that really has anything to do with the approval or disapproval of the resolution. It has something to do with approving of the resolution by the proper procedure, which is a quorum based on the number of people that are there. Justice, you have returned to the meeting? Okay.
Muted,
You're
muted,
muted, Justice.
Justice. Muted.
Sorry, I had another commitment that I had to take care of, and I decided to come back to the meeting.
That's good.
So therefore, we have, as it stands right now, for the person that placed the motion, Madeline, for the second, from Archie, or from Steve, but we have a hung jury. And the question is not because it was good or bad, that particular resolution, but rather because of the fact that we didn't have the numbers. Archie abstained for, I'm sure, a good reason, in that particular instance.
So.
Right, what you're asking, is he asking me to reopen the resolution? Is that what you're asking?
Well, yes, you and Steve, because the person placing the motion and the person doing the second both have to agree to do that.
So wouldn't it be better to, I mean, a vote was taken,
Yes.
and wouldn't it be better to, if somebody wanted to come back with a vote at our next meeting or some other time with different information or try again? I mean, we had a vote, and the opportunity was given to have a discussion. Nobody took that opportunity to have a discussion. So you moved to a vote.
Sorry.
I mean, I guess if we're going to reopen it, shouldn't it be reopened at a later time when there's more information?
What,
Or questions asked with either staff or the committee able to come back and provide different information?
we are not in executive session, are we? We are in open session, is that correct?
That's
Correct.
Could we go into executive session?
We can add that.
Yes.
We can add that.
If we have a good reason, which I suspect the reason could be for the,
I could provide an explanation for my abstention.
Yeah,
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I think another good reason may be that we're in the process of this vote, and all these votes, we're potentially dealing with financial issues that are, could be considered trade secrets, and that's certainly a legitimate reason to go into executive session.
okay. I think that's, so this is, the financial credit or employment history of a particular person or corporations, I think is the appropriate. We're going to be in executive session for that reason anyway.
Okay.
So that might be a good place to
And
start.
discussion of personnel.
Yeah.
Well,
So for now, and just for everyone's benefit, I brought up our bylaws, and a quorum is defined as the majority of the entire board of directors. And so that would be, as Maria and Jim indicated, we need 4, right?
and do 3.5.
So I think we then, with this, we can go into executive session.
Right, there's no need for Madeline to do what she just did, or Steve.
Move on
It's
to
a moot issue.
resolution 2021, renamed 2021, which would be approved loan application.
Okay,
And I
Is
can
it-
provide a little bit of context
Yeah.
for this
Oh,
one.
Jeremy, 21 is now gonna be the CARES Act grant
Oh,
awards.
sorry, you're right. Yep, CARES Act, sorry. Yep.
resolution 2022-21, newly,
Is CARES Act.
CARES Act, yeah. But it's newly renumbered. I want to point that out for the videotape. We have a motion to approve, so we can do a discussion on resolution 2022-21 on the CARES Act. We have a motion.
Steve will move.
Steve moves, second.
I'll second.
Second by Archie. Discussion. Jeremy?
Okay, I will turn this one over to Russ to give a brief reminder of this program and the recommended awards.
Thank you, Jeremy. So as a reminder, this program was funded through the CARES Act, through funds that were applied for, that we supported Franklin County in applying for. And we were awarded a total of $560,000, of which $500,000 are eligible for redirecting to businesses with the goal of restoring equity that was lost to the pandemic that they otherwise would have had available for these projects that we've considered. So these projects all have to prepare, prevent, or respond to the pandemic in some shape or form. They did need to indicate some sort of impacts that they experienced through the pandemic, and a project that they would have done if they would have had the equity, or in other words, there's some other way to respond to the pandemic to increase their resiliency for the future. So we have a committee that has evaluated all of these projects in depth, and I've done a lot of financial analysis to verify the impacts, and the committee has recommended that we award these amounts to these applicants for round one of the CARES Act program. And again, we are subrecipients of Franklin County to administer these awards and these grants.
Now,
Thanks, Russ. Go ahead, Sherry.
you didn't list the recipients like Rachel did?
They were sent out yesterday.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I do think I saw that. Okay, yep.
I have two questions, Sherry, if you're, are you okay with that, Sherry?
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Okay. Let's go to Russ with two questions.
Sure.
First question is, this says round one. How many different rounds are we talking about?
Well, we had some other applicants that did not get awarded this round because we're still waiting on financial information from them. And so they're going to be moved to a second round that will probably happen within the next couple of weeks, as soon as I can work with those applicants to get that information together.
Within the total amount of how much of the CARES Act?
So this represents about 390,000 of those funds. So we have about 110,000, 111,000 remaining to award.
So it's a $500,000 program.
That's what we have, yep, for the four actual grant amounts. Yep.
Yeah, no problem. I just want to make sure I understood. What is our, how should I say it? What do we recognize by administering this program as the IDA?
Well,
EDC.
Overall, supporting economic development, supporting the county with capacity to manage this grant. We do get program development and administration funds that go with it. But mainly to be able to support some of these businesses and coming out of the impacts of the pandemic.
Okay, I'm very happy with the answer, because I think that this is one of the few programs that really addresses people's hurting, that they're hurting where they are, a lot of them, and I'm glad to see this. So thank you. Any discussion further?
Yes, so Russ, I mean, you know how I feel about one, and I feel very strongly. So my question is, when we vote, we're voting on all of it, not as a breakdown.
Right. And what we did was Jeremy and Rachel and I met yesterday, and we went through all the recommendations of the committee, and we consolidated those recommendations based on the majority recommendations for each of these. And this was the consensus.
Okay. So if I disagree with one in particular, I can abstain like Archie did. Because I don't want to say no, because I support the majority. It's just, so I could just not vote.
Are the votes going to be broken down for each one of the organizations?
Yes, one question.
Oh, I didn't think so, but.
The way it's presented is a slate.
Right.
Yeah, it is a round of recommendations.
So the answer to my question is no.
Yes, the answer is no.
It's easy, it's only got 2 letters, I'm glad for that. Okay, well, any further discussion or any other questions? If not, we'll assume that we need a motion and a second.
Got that, right, Maria? We've got a motion second for this.
You have Stephen Archie brought it to the table.
What?
Yep.
So I'm wondering, like, what happens if this, like, if you get a majority of no's, does this, I mean, what role does the EDC play in this? I know we're not on the committee, but what role do we play in this whole process?
Sherry is a member of the grant committee, just for the record on that. So we do have representation through Sherry.
And this can't move forward if we don't approve of the list, correct?
And
Correct.
I guess that's my question too, is I don't know who asked it, but you're right. If the committee, so what role are we playing in voting yes or no when the committee already voted? That's all.
But this
So-
board is responsible for administering the funds for the CARES Act on behalf of Franklin County, correct?
Right, so
Correct.
the board, you are the ultimate authority on for executing contracts and issuing payments and all those types of things. So the committee can make a recommendation, but you guys are you have the fiduciary responsibility ultimately for the corporation. So that's why it can't just be a committee that makes a decision. The only thing a committee can do is make a recommendation. And so
Right.
if it comes to the board and you guys have different questions or you come from a different perspective that makes you hesitate or want more information, you have every right to do it. It's absolutely. We do use the committee structure because if we went through this with if we had the board do this for every project, we'd have to start paying you for all the time you're putting into it.
Yes.
And we have expertise, right? Like the committee for the CARES Act is 6 women with a great deal of specific expertise to be able to review these applications. And the group that did the Main Street grant review have a lot of experience with business and construction management and things like that. So we try to bring in these folks to help.
So if the EDC board carries that much weight in this, wouldn't it be fair to say, to me, it doesn't seem fair to hold up everybody because of one possible issue. Can we amend this resolution to a way that it would be acceptable to this board?
Right, so absolutely, of course you can. So let me explain why we present these as a slate. There's a couple different reasons for it. We have a recommendation from a committee, and we then bring it into a public setting because this is public funds, we're in a public meeting, but these are private businesses. And so we're trying to balance kind of a public awarding of public funds to private businesses in a way that doesn't get too deep into the specifics of a private business in a public setting, if that makes sense. And so by presenting it as a slate, we're saying, here we go, we've got this whole group, and if it is a ministerial type approval, then you just vote and you move on. However, if you have a concern about one or more projects, then you can certainly you have a couple different options. you can make amendments and pull one or more projects out. You could vote on the entire slate and vote it down and then do resolutions for each one. It would be my ongoing recommendation, even if we have times when we make exceptions, that we present these as a slate and then as the norm. Okay, rather than vote on normally coming in with each one as its own resolution. Justice, I think you're in charge for a couple minutes. Otherwise, we're going to be waiting.
Well, can we go into executive session and discuss these two resolutions now, since we already need to discuss the other one?
Yes, because if we're going to do that, then obviously if there's specific information or questions about the financial or credit history of any of the businesses that are subject to this resolution, then that would be appropriate.
We're great for finance.
So what if, Justice, why don't we, we can come back to it. Yeah, we want to go into executive session right now and discuss both of them.
So we have a resolution. I'm sorry, Justin, we have a resolution on the floor now, right? With a second. We're in discussion. And we can table, I'm gonna vote, I'd like to table, to be clean, do we table the motion?
Yep.
Go into executive session. I'll move to table the motion on approval of the round one awards for the CARES Act.
So you're amending, this is an amendment.
As amended.
You're amending.
And so we leave it clean and we call it back up again after executive session. Does that make sense, Justice?
Yeah, that makes sense. Are there other agenda items?
Yes, we have one more agenda item.
Okay, so do we entertain a motion to table the resolution that's currently on the floor?
Steve made that motion.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed to tabling it?
And no, Jim Ellis is out of the room, so I guess that goes as a.
All right, so what is the next agenda item?
The next agenda item is a resolution to, and I will bring it up. Hold on. The numbering would be changed, but a resolution authorizing a loan of $50,000 to Excelsior Rail Bikes LLC. And because this was not included in the original packet, I've put it up on the screen for everyone. We apologize for not getting it to you sooner.
Would this also be under the CARES Act?
No, this is a loan. So this is a separate resolution.
22.
Depending on everything else, yeah.
Oh, depending on what we do with the other.
So Russ, is Russ still here? Russ, could you give us a quick overview?
Yeah, sorry, the fan is on loud. I can't hear very well. So this is a loan that has been applied for through Excelsior Rail Bikes LLC, which is a single member LLC that's owned by the Adirondack. I'm not going to get this right. I'm sorry. Adirondack Scenic. Jim, is Jim there? Say it better. I apologize. I'm blanking on the parent organization here.
It's the Adirondack Scenic Railroad.
Adirondack Preservation Rail Society. Sorry about that. So they are looking to reestablish rail bike business at the Tupper Lake Depot, and that will be going in a westward direction towards Old Forge. As you know, the rails were pulled up going east towards Saranac Lake. And as part of the compromise, the rails were left remaining going west. And so they'll be operating rail bikes in that direction. And they're just looking for $50,000 to help them put in an office and a ticket booth to facilitate the business going forward. They have alternate financing for the rail bikes and the other aspects of the business. And the loan committee has met and has recommended approval of this loan.
We
Hey,
are
very good.
considering resolution. So Justice, Jim's back. So Jim, we are
Go ahead.
considering the resolution for the rail bikes. Excelsior Rail Bikes loan resolution.
And
While we were gone, we tabled the resolution regarding the CARES Act. So that we'll go into executive session, and then we could reconsider after executive session.
very good.
In the meantime, we moved on to the resolution related to Excelsior Rail Bikes.
Very good. I will explain before we get to this, that I am a board member of the Adirondack Railway. And for that reason, I will have to recuse myself from voting on this particular resolution. So therefore, do we have a motion and a second on resolution 2022-21?
Steve will move the motion that we approve resolution 2022-22,
22.
at least for now. The number, because we don't know what's going to happen with this resolution prior. But the resolution to approve, to authorize a loan of $50,000 to Excelsior Rail Bikes LLC.
I'll second Steve.
Second by Arch. Any further discussion? If not, Maria, you can proceed with the roll call vote.
Okay, Sherry Boye.
Yeah.
Jim Ellis, you have recused yourself.
Right. Thank you.
Stephen Erman,
Yes.
Madeline Fleury,
Yes.
Justice Martin,
Yes.
Archie McKee.
Yes.
Okay, it's adopted.
Very good. Thank you.
We're now ready for motion for executive session. And the purpose would be to discuss proposed pending or current litigation and the financial credit or employment history of a particular person or a corporation.
And or evaluations.
And also,
Personal evaluation.
that's the same thing, yeah, the employment history.
I think I moved before. Maria, do we have an active motion already for this? But I think the grounds were not stated.
No, we don't.
It
Okay.
died for lack of a second because there
We
wasn't
have
a
to
reason.
move that we go into executive session
Right.
for the grounds of the person.
It's for the proposed pending or current litigation and also the
Pending litigation and.
financial credit or employment history of a particular person or corporations.
Good. That's the motion.
Motion by Steve for executive session indicating the two reasons why. Is there a second to go into executive session?
I'll second it.
Second by Sherry. All those in favor of going into executive session, please signify by saying aye.
All right.
I
Aye.
Okay, I will now be creating, if you recall, I'm going to create a breakout room. And so everyone who is on Zoom needs to make sure you get into the breakout room. We're just waiting for Madeline, I think.
There,
She's back. Okay. So we're good.
very good. We're now in regular session.
No, we have to have a motion to come out of executive session.
Okay. Motion to come out of executive session. I see Archie moved.
Yeah.
Second,
I'll second it.
second Justice. All in favor to come out of executive sessions, please
Aye.
indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. You're now in regular session. So. CEO,
Okay. Is there any motions that anyone would like to make?
I would, I'd make a motion to reconsider our vote or reconsider the matter of
That's, you want to reconsider resolution 2020 related to the Mason Richardson Building Main Street Grant Award
yes,
request?
thank you. I was getting stuck on the number.
Yeah.
Reconsideration of our action on the Mason Richardson LLC New York Main Street Program Grant.
second. Anyone? Second to Steve's motion. Then
I'll
hearing,
second it.
seconded by Justice. All those in favor of Steve's motion, which is?
To approve $50,000 Main Street Grant Awards for 461 East Main Street.
So you heard the motion and you heard the statement of the motion and the matter. Any further discussion? If not,
Just so it's, I'm sorry, Jim.
go ahead.
Just so it's clear, the motion is to reconsider the action we took before, and the reconsideration would be to
approve.
the vote would be to approve
$50,000 award. for Mason-
50,000
Mason
for, and that's the
Richardson
matter we're gonna vote on.
Building, right.
Okay.
And that's the Richardson building, right?
Yes.
This is the reconsideration.
Any questions about the motion? The motion having been made and seconded concerning the Richardson building, please signify by saying aye, and then we'll do the roll call vote if that's the case. All right, Maria, go ahead. Roll call.
This is to reconsider. Oops, go ahead.
No, this is to reconsider it.
This is to reconsider 2022-20.
I'm concerned about the wording of this. I think we should do a motion to reconsider. And then we have a vote on whether we should approve or deny the application. Does that make sense?
No,
Okay.
not to me, not my feeling. Let me ask the question.
Shut up.
I thought during some discussion we had that we were going to let it die. Am I correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, so it's either dead or it isn't dead. So if we reconsider, we're only reconsidering for one, which we haven't really done because we haven't taken these people or taken a motion to do these CARES Act things separately.
No, we're not talking about CARES Act.
No, I know, I'm sorry, Main Street.
There's a motion to reconsider one of the Main Street grants. It was previously not approved.
Right.
But it wasn't by name not approved, or was it,
Yes.
or was the
It was
whole?
a roll call vote, 100%.
By that specific project was not approved. And there's a motion on the floor to
Reconsider that.
reconsider it.
Point of information, Maria, what did you just say, huh?
I said that it was a roll call vote, so yes, names are actually absolutely there in that vote.
Which means,
Just we-
I thought that's what you had asked, sorry.
I'm sorry, I gotta stop
So-
this again.
There's a motion and a second to reconsider the vote.
Okay.
So.
I want to make sure that's what we're doing, because I don't want it to go down any other way. We have a motion on the floor to reconsider the vote that we took on the
Mason Richardson.
Main Street grant.
Main Street grant award.
okay. Being no further discussion, or is there? If not, then we will go ahead and do, I think, Maria, we have to do a roll call vote on that too, don't we, or no?
Sure, yep. So Sherry Boye,
Yes.
James Ellis,
Yes,
Stephen Erman,
Question, vote to reconsider, if I voted no to reconsider this, it's like voting opposed to the project, correct?
no, we're voting simply or not whether to reopen.
To rather reopen it, then yes, I vote yes to reconsider.
Right.
Okay.
Madeline
Archie.
Fleury,
Oh, sorry, Madeline. I thought Archie had a question. Go ahead,
Yes.
Madeline. Also.
Yes.
Justice Martin,
Yes.
Archie McKee.
No,
Okay,
Okay.
Therefore, we are now in the motion to approve
That grant.
with the exception of,
Just that, we already separated the other one.
okay, the other ones are all separated out. Yep. Now, with that, Maria, I think we do a roll call vote then, at this
so
point.
at this point, you're voting again on this resolution 2022
Wanted to make sure.
correct?
Okay, motion
Okay,
to open or to vote by roll call on the item just discussed.
okay, do we have a first and a second for that motion?
So I'll move to
To vote,
a decision to approve the project under reconsideration.
second anywhere?
Second, anybody?
I'll second.
Okay.
Oh, slow on the draw.
Okay, can
We
we
have a
go right
motion
to the
and a
roll
second.
call?
Go ahead.
Sherry Boye.
Yeah.
Did you say yes?
Yes. To reconsider, I believe, yeah.
No, we passed
We
that.
already did that.
This is up or down on the project at this point, Sherry.
What?
This is up or down on the project. We voted to reconsider already. So now the vote is either to approve or disapprove the project.
Oh, disapprove. No, thank you.
Jim Ellis,
Disapprove. No,
Steve Erman,
No, disapprove.
Madeline Fleury,
No.
Justice Martin,
No.
Archie McKee,
Abstain.
thank you.
Okay,
We need to consider it's 21, Maria,
It's
approval.
2022 20. Mason,
Grant.
whatever,
Works.
yep.
okay.
Need a motion.
We need a motion for the CARES Act, which is resolution number
21.
2021-22. 2022-21. Moved by Steve to approve Longwood Woods CARES Act. Second, anyone second?
I'll second it.
Second by Justice. Further discussion? If not, go ahead, Maria, we'll do the roll call vote.
Okay, this is for 2022 21. Sherry Boye,
Yes.
Jim Ellis,
Yes.
Steve Erman,
Yes.
Madeline Flurry,
Yes.
Justice Martin,
Yes.
Archie McKee.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted.
Thank you. Very good. And now, anything further to come before the board? The LDC? If not, remind you, our next meeting date is July 13th of 2022. Reminder too, that I would like to try to have you get back your evaluations to me by the 1st of July, which will give you a few more days. I'll total them all up and we'll provide you a narrative copy and we'll go from there. We'll send it down to the governance committee and we will send along a recommendation. We hope to get this done by the August meeting. Any further discussion? Anything at all? Motion to adjourn? Archie,
Make the motion.
Second.
you guys are, Archie raised his hand. I saw the hand go up. So we have 2 seconds, Justice and Sherry. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Thanks, guys.
Sorry,
Thank
so
you,
I had to
guys.
jump off for a little bit. Good to see you
Hey.
all.
That's all right.
Bye.
No problem.